Hello everyone, welcome back to this lecture. I hope you are well. In previous lecture, I discussed about the key difference between the types of machine learning, that is supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning, as well as reinforcement learning. We understand in supervised machine learning, we need labeled dataset. The dataset in the format of XY or input output pair. In case of unsupervised machine learning, we require unlabeled dataset that does not have a target value or labels. And in reinforcement learning, we understand agents try to learn when they interact with the environment and try to maximizing the reward or minimizing the punishment or penalties. So in this lecture, I will discuss about type of data. Before understanding the type of data, first understand the what should be the ideal pipeline when from feeding the data or pre-processing the data set and getting a prediction from an output from a model. So let us move to the to see the whole pipeline. Yeah. So this is a data. In this lecture, I will discuss different type of data, and I pass the data set in a pre-processing pipeline. Okay. What happened in this pipeline? Uh, we have to remove the missing values. We have to handle the none values, as well as we have to remove the duplicate values, and we need to convert the text into the numerical format that model accept, and we need to convert the dataset in a normalized form, because every feature having is some they vary from minimum to highest value, so we need to change their range. We should have a same value should be come under the 0 to 1. So this is the process we will do before feeding the dataset into the model. So that is the very important step we must know, because if you feed a dataset without doing this thing, so you will get a very low accuracy and your model will not perform well. So before feeding a dataset into a model, we need to pre-process the dataset so that model will accept the dataset in the format they require. Then we pass the dataset into model. A model may be a different types of model. If we are working for a regression problem, we use a linear regression support vector machine. If we are working for ensemble method like random forest, and after getting a output, we post process the output, and it will give you a output in a format that human can interpret. For example, when we are working on a image classification, we have a two classes, cat and dog. We have images, corresponding images. We feed the data set, then we do the pre-processing, we resizing, normalizing, and creating a random noise, do a lot of things I will cover in upcoming lecture. Then we pass the data set into a model. After model will train, and it will uh, predict the output will be in the format of like that. We have a two sample, so it will give a answer in the format. We having a two class, one output here, second output having a this is a we get a probability. Here we will get a probability. This is for first example, this is for second example. So to pre-process post process them, process the output so that human can read. Like we should get a output from a model like it is a image of cat, image of dog. So we need to convert that output in a way human can read them. So that is called a post processing. I will discuss in deep. Don't worry if you are not able to follow the what I am saying. So so before moving, jumping, learning the complex and complex model like linear regression, logistic regression, first understand the how, what is the data, what are different types of data and data sets, and how we can pre-process the data set before feeding the data set into a model. There are a lot of pre-processing techniques. If we are talking about text, we have a we need to remove the punctuation. A lot of things we can do it, removing the face, removing the white spaces. If we are working with images, we need to um, smoothen the image, normalize the image, resize the image. Lot of things we can do it. So, so, uh, so in this lecture, I will discuss about what are the different types of data that can be that can be used in a building a machine learning model. So let us start the lecture. I think you got a whole understanding how data are passed in a pre-processing pipeline. They further go into number of operations, number of transformation, and then feed to model. Then we do the post processing, and we get a required output. Okay. So in this lecture, I will discuss about different types of data in machine learning. So first is structured data. Structured data. Second is a unstructured data. Third is semi-structured data, and fourth is time series dataset. In a structured data, we have a dataset in the format of tabular data format, like we have a rows and columns. In an unstructured dataset, we have a text images that does not follow any tabular format. In a semi-structured dataset, we have a containing a both features, both component of structure as well as unstructured data set. And in a time series data set, we have a observation or data set which incorporate the times. Like if we are talking about weather forecasting, so we have a time. So so this four types I will discuss in this lecture in deep. Don't worry. So I will go one by one and explain the concept, what is the structured data, and I will explain with the real life examples. And so first is a structured data. Okay, let me take a pen. Yeah. So structured data are those data that are highly organized, stored in a tabular format. That is a key point. Tabular format, which have a rows as well as columns. For example, if we are building a model that can tell the score of a student based on the two feature only, we are taking into account study hours as well as attendance. What is the attendance in a class and how much time he gave outside the school. So so this is a data set having a two sample, one and two. Okay, two examples. This we say examples, training examples. This is a columns, study hour, attendance score. The columns, study hours, attendance is a features, score is a target variables. I will go into deep what is the feature and targets in a upcoming lecture. So this is the rows and columns. So data that can be represented in the form of rows as well as columns, we say data set are a structured data. That dataset can be used in a supervised machine learning, where dataset are format of XY format as well as input output pair, XY format and input output pair. So so in a supervised machine learning, most of data are the structured data. You can think like data are stored in a spreadsheet like Excel's. We store data in the format of rows and columns. Data may be categorical. Like if I talk about gender, male, female, as well as transgender, and color yellow, red, categorical data. And quantitative data is numerical values, any infinite values. So let's take example. Through this, I will explain the structured data. Like if I talk about fraud detection banking system, we are building a machine learning model where we need to detect a transaction is a fraud or not, it is malicious or suspicious or not. So we have a date feature, we have an amount, we have a merchant, as well as location from where transaction is occur, and this is a target variable where we will write a yes, no, it is a no, it is a fraud example, is a not for example. So we will write here training examples, date mention and mentioning the amount as well as merchant and locations. Similarly, we will do for second examples. So data set are arranged in the format of rows. This is a rows, this is a columns. Okay. So structured data are those data that can be represented in a tabular format, which consists of rows as well as columns. I think your concept become clear about a structured data. Let's move to the other type of data is a unstructured data. Unstructured data are those data that does not have any fixed format. Like in a structured data, we have a fixed format that is tabular format, which are consist of rows as well as columns. But in case of unstructured data, we don't have any fixed format. There is no predefined structure. Okay, it is difficult to store the data set in a tabular format, as happen in a structured data. So let's take example of unstructured data is a text like if you are building a machine learning application that to analyze the sentiments, so you need to pre-process, yeah, processing the text. So that is a unstructured data. Images image is a unstructured data. Like in a previous example, I explained the how we can classify the dog and cat. That is an example of unstructured data. Video video classification, video analysis, and fourth one is a audio, like AI assistant, Siri, Alexa. Like we give a command, uh, we speak what is the weather today, so it will convert into a text and then it process them and generate a output. So how that is called unstructured data. That is, there is no fixed format as well as no predefined structure that cannot be stored in a tabular format. To understand and to process the unstructured data, we require a advanced technique, that is a deep learning based technique that involve the neural network that is inspired from the human brain. I will discuss in upcoming lecture. So you can think a like we need a deep learning advanced technique method to process the unstructured data. In a real world scenario, you will see more than 75% of all data are unstructured data. You will find in a real life scenario. You have a text, image, audio, and videos. Let us understand the unstructured data with examples for real life. So spam email detection. In this data set are the format of text. We need to classify into a, that is a email is a spam or not a spam. Okay, we process the data set that are the format of text. Text data set is a unstructured data set. Okay. Next is a facial recognition system that incorporate the images, multiple images, and process them and yield a output face, yeah, images, yeah, facial face of those person. Images, so it involves the images as a data that is unstructured data. In a speech recognition task, we use the audio data. For example, uh, AI assistant, that is Siri, Alexa, that use the audio to generate output and process the unstructured data, that is audio data. In a sentiment analysis, we are working reviewing the social media posts like LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter post. We do a sentiment analysis. It is a positive review, negative review, as well as neutral review. So we our data in a format of unstructured data. So we need to process them through a deep learning based method. So I hope you understand the unstructured data. Let's move to a third type of data, that is semi-structured data, that have a both feature of a structure as well as unstructured data set. Semi-structured data set are partially organized containing the both structure as well as unstructured. Structure means having it at the format of rows as well as columns. But in case of unstructured data set, there is no such predefined order, predefined structure. That like a strict tabular format, but have a some tags as well as metadata. Okay. Uh, for example, it can data set can be have a text as well as images as well as structured data. So that is a unstructured data set, unstructured data set, and this is a structured data set. So semi-structured data set having a both feature structure as well as unstructured data. Let's take example to explain further. Uh, Web scraping. Here dataset is a unstructured, and in a when we are building a model to review a e-commerce product, so dataset are the format of having a text plus metadata, having customer reviews plus rating, that are no that are in the form of structure scores as well as unstructured comment. We have a comment of product as well as score, so we need to process them and feed the data set into a model and train them and get a output a model of a review is good or bad. Okay, so let's move to the other type, that is time series data. In a previous three type of data, we did not take into account the time, but time is also important. We need to incorporate when we process the data. So so fourth is a time series data, that consists of data set in the format of having a incorporate the time, having a observations recorded over the time, often at a regular intervals. For example, if you are that can be used for forecasting like weather forecasting, trend analysis like stock market analysis, and in this time series data set, we need to maintain the order. Yeah, we need to maintain the sequence here matter. But in case in a three type of data, there is no a matter of sequence. Here the sequence matter because it incorporates the times. For example, if I give an example of stock market prediction, in this we have a features like stock historical stock price and trading volume and economic indicators. So these three features and many more features are there, that historical stock price mean it incorporates the times. So that feature are used to build the model. Okay, that is used to build the model and generate the, yeah, predict the output from a model. Okay, if I take a second example, that is weather forecasting. To do a forecasting of a weather, like if you want to know what should be the weather for a tomorrow, so you need to take into account the past data set, past weather, then you can easily tell them what what can be the weather for a tomorrow, yeah, day after tomorrow, yeah, in future. Like in weather forecasting, we take into account the temperature, humidity, wind speed that are recorded over the time. So here we incorporate the time before feeding a model. So we understand the four types of data. First is structured data set. Second is unstructured data. Third is semi-structured, and fourth is a time series data. That time series data having a special properties of incorporating the time, so that make a very useful when we have a task of weather forecasting as well as stock market analysis. I hope you understand this lecture. If you have any query, please leave in the comment section. I am happy to resolve the query. Thank you so much, everyone. See you in next lecture.